Good afternoon. Um, I just wanted to make a video really quick while this was still in my head about what ethics used to be in the community and the changes people have made now, and versus being an individual. Um, in the OVC, everybody sort of has their own individual code, or you would hope that people have their own individual code. Groups, houses, they all have something that they live by. There's the black veil. Go Google that. I mean, there's always, the first rule is discretion, responsibility, ethics, about how you treat people in the community, what you choose to do with people and to people when they choose to associate with you, all of that. And there's a big riff in the community when it comes to being cohesive about what we're going to put up with and what we're not going to put up with. I'm talking about being an individual, being a rogue, and being a Ronin, and being part of a house. I mean, we're all always individuals, but some individuals choose to represent a group or coalition. And then there's always people getting older. There's people who are less and less part of the community. You know, you get to be like 45 and you're like, you know, go the dog eat dog topics. You don't have any taste for anymore. You know, let the younglings do whatever they want to do, because at that point, you know, everybody has something to lose, but they have less to lose, or they feel like they have less to lose. They can take more hits. You know, you get older, people have husband, wife, kids, family, homes, jobs. You know, there's a certain age bracket that does the OVC dogfighting, or the OVC capture the flag. That's the nicest way of putting it. And then I choose not to be in that frame of mind. I feel like there's so much more to do than argue with people. I would rather help people. I would rather help someone who's trying to troubleshoot an issue, to give information and have it be presented the right way. I've got a lovely husband and wife team right now, and they're wonderful people. But they're very different mindsets, and their goals are worlds apart. And the husband is like just now going through his awakening, and he's learning everything, and his wife is very Christian. She's already got a ton of things to do. I mean, my hat really goes off to this person. The fact that they're together and they're working on this together. And, you know, he finally said to me, he said, you know, is there a way that, you know, you can become friends with my wife? And I was like, yeah. Why? And he said, you know, because I don't explain things well. And I was like, okay, well, I can see how that could be a problem. And I said, yeah, sure, you know, eventually, you know, we'll get around to talking about it. You know, just meet her and know and learn who she is. And she's a wonderful person. This is where I choose to help people. I'm down in the trenches helping people, giving them answers, learning how to better understand their problems and get them to the information that they need, and not step on anything like religion or culture or, you know, their own way of life, because everybody is different. And with that being said, there's a part of the community that way back in the day, if you were a minor, and you ran into somebody from the vampire community, it used to be that they said, you know, this is great, and, you know, I like talking with you, and you're a wonderful person. but until you are 18 to 21, that would be the time to come back and see me. Come back and talk to me then. And that's a huge letdown for the adolescent, because they're desperately looking for people to talk to. However, the reason that used to be that way, I mean, I really don't want to, I mean, I could really make this very clear, but there are some words that I'm trying to avoid using. Incidences that have happened. In fact, a good way of getting around this, instead of naming something that's actually happened, there's a reason why you read Lord of the Flies in high school. Do you get what I'm talking about? Things have happened with children. Children can do extraordinary things and not really think about the consequences. They can't gauge their projection. You know, there's that scene, I think it's from Volcano, where she's like, lava bomb! And she goes, no, keep watching it! Keep watching it! And it goes, boom! And it's like, you never take your eyes off of it until you're sure you know where it's going to land. Teenagers, people who are under the age of 21, can't always do this. Everybody develops differently. Some people do it slower, some people do it faster, but 21 is really the cutoff. They don't think about certain things. They're just, you know, they're wet behind the ears. They don't consider all the possibilities of things that can happen. And that's why way back when, we did not have minors in the community. Sites were more exclusive. You know, they found out you were 21. I mean, Sanguinarian, sanguinarian.org used to have, like, kitty corner, and it was heavily monitored. This is something that we really kept track of, and now that social media has exploded, we can't really do this anymore. And so when I'm down in the trenches helping people, I see a lot of minors. And I see minors contacting other minors. I see adults contacting minors, and I see things that happen, and I think I wind up being the bad guy. I say, you know, I'll come across a post that says, you know, hey, you know, want to chat to members of the community 18 and under. Are you kidding me? Oh, gross! I mean, this is what it sounds like, and you know, you really have to know about where the poster is coming from and who the poster is in order for it to not be pervy. Because it sounds like it sounds like pedophile material. And I just, you know, I'll be typing away, and all of a sudden I'll see something, and I'll post it, and it's like, ew, that's gross. And I just, you know, I try to be as polite as possible to these people and be like, you might want to delete that and rephrase that, because I think the FBI anonymous tip line would want to know about that. And usually, I mean, people don't take it well. I mean, when I'm like, shut up with your bullshit, I mean, people don't take it well at all. And they're just like, I don't know what you're talking about. They'll come off like I don't know they don't know what I'm talking about. I'm sorry, I have allergies. I almost lost my left eye, so you'll have to excuse me if I keep tearing. I'm lucky to have it, and so it's just very sensitive, and I've got the heater going, so it's like in my face. But you know, I do have to deal with minors, and as far as minors go, I'm willing to point you in the right direction of information. But like I said in my disclaimer, this is not information you were to do any action with. This is simply to keep you safe, to keep you the wiser. Put it in your back pocket and be like, you know, you have more colors to the painting that is life. You can recognize more colors. Be the wiser when people contact you. I'm a do a checklist for minors eventually when it comes to the OVC, because telling people nowadays, come back to me when you're 21, they're just going to run into somebody else who's going to be more of a problem. So that's why I tend to not ignore minors. A couple of days ago to about a week, I had a friend who was getting ready for an arranged marriage, and she was a minor, and I immediately said, do you have a job? And she said, yes. And I was like, okay, so you know what you're doing. You've got your own plan. And at that point, it was whether I was going to stop talking to this person or not, because I'm at risk. I put the community at risk when you deal with minors. I've had friends that deal with minors, and I'm like, this person isn't 21 yet. And they're like, yeah, but they're 18. And I'm like, no. They have their family, they have friends, and you know, they don't socialize well enough. They don't have tact. So things get said that are not okay. Blurting is really what I'm talking about. They blurt out facts, and it does not, the presentation is terrible. So if you are a minor and you're watching my videos, hats off to you that you found them. But know that you're never meant to do anything with this information. And if you're in chats talking with me, and I'm not aware that you're a minor, please tell me. This will keep me from being under fire, is that I can talk to you in a group chat and not on one-on-one. I would prefer that if you're going to be a minor, that you do not talk to me privately, in order for me to remain unresponsible for your actions. And that's everyone in the community has or should have that type of stance. I'm nearly 30 years old, and I see people that are 16 running around saying things that are just painfully obvious they don't know what they're talking about. Even in people who are not minors in the community, there are people who have to be treated like children, people who can't follow the rules. I'm sure we all know someone in the community that we feel is like a child. It happens. I mean, I could name I could name at least 3 off the top of my head. 4, 5, sorry, 5. The more I think about it, the more names come up. And a good status in the community is that when you're talking to someone, you know, if you ask them, you know, so where did you come from, you know, in the community? Where did you first start out? You know, how many groups have you been in? You know, you can't ever really ask someone, so how many times have you been kicked out of a group? We wish we could ask that question, but we really can't, not all the time. But depending on how many groups people have been in and are not in any longer, really tells you how well they're willing to be able to play with others, and how well they follow rules. And I mean, this isn't about you know, this isn't like a lording over people kind of thing. This is just basic etiquette. Basic etiquette, the way the community's face looks. I feel like that's really what's important. That is what this video is about. Is that the community face and the way people see the community outside. This entire video is meant to be a topic on do's and don'ts, and what happens. And people make exceptions. I am no different. I talk to minors. I'm making an exception right there. It's a small exception, but it could ruin my life. It can ruin your life. So I make sure that my contact with those people is extremely limited. But the internet is not what it was, and I'm sure that all of that information is highly trackable. So if you're posting things and you're in the community talking to minors, keep that in mind, is that it can reflect badly on you and on your character and who you are, and your ethics can be definitely called into question. And that's why I really make these videos, is that I prefer not to talk to people on a one-on-one. You know, if you're really having a troubleshooting problem, then I will talk to you one-on-one, and I'll try to get you out of your problem. But like I said before in my disclaimer video, I would probably prefer to go through Pfeiffer. In the attic, I think there's only one person that isn't 21, or they are 21 this year. I'm not entirely sure. But we do ask that question when you interview at Nocturne Circle. I'm not entirely, I know that a lot of the people in the basement are not minors. But the basement is linked to Whisper, and minors galore. Which is, it's not a very secure place. But just running into people, I wanted to get this off the top of my head and onto film. There are people in the community that have not played well with rules that I'm very much aware of, and there's a portion of the community that is Ronin, and they accept all walk-ins. And I have a little bit of a thing with that. You know, they don't know these people from Adam. They're very loving, and they're like, come in out of the rain, you're so lonely. And they really don't think about why they were out there in the first place in the rain. This is something that I've seen. I've told people in my own group, you know, you've gotten harassment notices from several women in the group, and you don't know when to stop, and I'm going to have to ask you to be on your way. And they're like, oh yeah, that's fine, you know, screw you. And, you know, I have my own family to deal with, and my own friends, and, you know, I don't need you, I've got somebody better. And I'm like, well, that's great. Good for you. You know, they're like, I don't need a house, I can be Ronin. And I'm just like, ay, 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 ay. It's not flattering, don't do it. I know several people that are in the Ronin community, and I mean, I'm not saying that they're all bad. Some of them are wonderful people. But I really wish that they would be more explicit and solid about their ethics and their rules. Because they'll take anyone. They'll take anyone. So, you know, they're taking problems as well. You know, it's kind of like the vacuum cleaner of the community. I'm sure people are gonna love that I just said that. Yeah, I just said that. I'm sorry. I hope that's not too offensive. I'm actually thinking about one person in particular, and they're not very emotionally evolved. They don't handle emotional conflict well when they get their emotions all flared up. Their social function suffers. And I'm technically by my own house related to this person, so I kind of have to watch it. But it happens. I literally, like, I have a video on this already. Like, I don't know if I would post it because that might be rude, but I do have things captured on video for safekeeping. Yeah, I'm that person. I will just sit quietly and be like, with my camcorder and be like, Smile, you're on Facebook. It happens. And, you know, they're just like, woo, we're Ronin, fly my freak flag, and, you know, we'll take anyone. And I'm like, can we hear about your regulations, please? Because you pretty much just told every problem child in the OVC you were like an all-you-can-eat buffet. You know, things like multiple accounts happen. You never know who you're talking to. And that's, you know, by now, knowing someone in the community is now something that it's done by years, to make sure people's personalities and their life stays consistent. You can feel like you know someone for years, and then their Facebook can go down, and all of a sudden they're contacting you through another Facebook, and this one's been up much longer than the other one you were talking to, and you're like, I had no idea you were leading a double life. A lot of us lead double lives. I myself try to lead as little of a double life as possible, and I really haven't come under fire for it yet. I say yet because that can always happen. There can always be someone who doesn't like my opinion and says, I'm going to go after this profile, I'm going to go after that profile, I'm going to go after your IP address. This is what happens in the community, and this is how people get censored. You literally have bullies in the community censoring the community because I don't know why. I'm not one of those people. So I can't even fathom their reasoning. I mean, sometimes tyrants, you know, it happens to tyrants mostly. You know, if you have someone who's really, really just bashing people on the internet left and right, just heads are rolling and flying, and people are crying, and then finally, you know, like enough people will report this person on Facebook, and their Facebook will just be closed down for a while. I'm sure we all know someone that's happened to. And when it's happened enough, they have a very select few friends list. And, you know, again, I'm starting to loop. You know, that's when you're like, so how long have you been in the OVC? Where did you start? A lot of people are reluctant to give out that information. Don't be. If you have that information, if you have extensive OVC history, those are your credentials. So by your own action, you're dictating what people think about you anyway, just from your history in the OVC. I wouldn't even have to know anything about you, and all you'd have to do is give me where you've been, are you there now? I could look up your posts and immediately judge you. That's the way it is. You know, you've been in the community long enough, and you might not even have to make new posts. People already know who you are. And with that being said, there are people in the community that are here no longer that have been bullied, and they were wonderful people. This is a shout out to Zilchi. You're out there somewhere. We miss you. Come back. One of the first persons to do a Q&A playlist was Zilchi, and you can't even find his videos on YouTube anymore. I know where you can find them, but he was a great individual that went silent. There are many good people that have gone silent. You know, I could be next. You never know. I've talked to good friends who have said that they've had trouble in the VC, and I'm like, what's going on? And they're just like, I'm being stalked. I'm having trouble, and people are pretty much gagging me at this point. And I'm like, dude, what did you do? And they're just like, I'm just being me. That's it? You didn't go after somebody personally? You didn't, you know, take a verbal knife and cut someone? That's it? You're just being you on your own page and your own shtick? Like, damn, that's harsh. You know, people that do this in the community, what's wrong with you? Why are you here? Why is there so much elitism? I mean, a lot of times minors, you know, when you say that, you know, like, oh, I can't talk to you, you're not 21, you know, they think it's elitism. It's not. I'm trying to protect myself because you could do something, you could do stupid, and I could get blamed for your stupid. Uh, and at 25 minutes and 16 seconds and counting, I think I'm done making this video. If there's anything that I forgot to mention, or that you know, something jogs a memory or a thought that relates to this video, put it in the comments below. And it's a nice rainy day and I'm gonna go outside and play in it. Have a good day.